Should you count the number of days that you've done no contacts? My name's Ruth Ann. I'm a psychologist. I'm an expert in relationships and issues of narcissism. So apparently this is a thing that people will now track the number of days they're in no contact with their abusive and or narcissistic ex-partner. I'm kind of intrigued by this. So if it's something you've done, leave a comment because I'd love to hear your thoughts and what your experiences were. My kind of first thought off the top of my head when I heard that this was a thing that people did was like, gosh, it's a bit like someone who's had a problem with addiction to drugs or alcohol, counting the number of days that they've been sober. And you know what? I kind of get it. I kind of get that that is a useful thing. But here are a few downsides that I can see. And, let me know what you think, because I don't have a hard and fast opinion on this. But I think when you are focusing solely on contact, you're actually not assessing or paying attention to what really matters. So, if I work with someone who's had a problem with addiction and they've chosen abstinence, it's much more helpful to ask them, what have you gained? Where are you growing? Now that you're not having alcohol or other drugs every day, what is there more space for in your life? How is it affecting your relationships? Are you more clear headed? How's your physical health, your mental health, your mood? How have you been in the workplace? Or how have you shown up with your family or friends? Or what have you got more time for, more space for, more room for? So for people who are using substances, very often the substance is masking other more painful experiences or feelings. So I would also be asking, are you able to be more open, more present with feelings of grief or loss or anxiety or anger or overwhelm? Are you building your skills in managing those difficult emotions? I guess also for someone who's been in an abusive relationship or a relationship with someone who's heavily narcissistic, where that is not a healthy relationship for them to be in, I'd also be asking, are you learning to tolerate aloneness, loneliness, um, autonomy and independence, and the anxiety that may go along with that for some people? Are you living with that? Are you tolerating that? And also, what have you got more space for in your life? Do you have more space for your interests, your priorities, the things that matter for you? Are you growing in your ability to take really good care of yourself, to nurture yourself? Are you growing in your ability to pursue the goals and the values and the priorities that are important in your life? Do you have more space for the relationships that matter to you, other relationships other than your ex-partner? Those are the things that I would be much, much, much more focused on. When I work with people who've had problems with addiction, with alcohol or drugs, I will also tell them very clearly the chances of you being sober for the rest of your life from this point are pretty small. You and I should both expect that at some point you will relapse. And that is not a catastrophe, because when you have a relapse, it's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to look at where you may need to strengthen yourself, make some other plans as to how you manage to keep yourself safe and sober. And that is okay. And it's not a catastrophe if you don't go back into it. It's not like, oh, well, you've done 200 days sober, then you had one lapse and the clock's reset and all of that progress is lost. It isn't lost. It's really not lost. And also, I think sometimes when I work with people who've got challenges with addiction and substances, they don't want to engage in abstinence. Some people do want to continue using substances. And in that case, we might want to be thinking about reduction or ways of reducing harm. For some people, they may not be able to go no contact. It may not be possible. Maybe they still have to co-parent. And other times, we have relationships with people that are difficult, that are tricky, and that we don't necessarily want to completely withdraw from for all kinds of reasons. So I would also think in those situations, Thinking that no contact is the only option available is probably not a very helpful or realistic one, but it may be helpful to think, how can I reduce the damage? How can I have better boundaries? And how can I evaluate the impact that's having on the relationship with this person, but also on you personally? Is this difficult relationship controlling your life, preventing you from pursuing other friendships and relationships or other life goals that are important to you? And weighing up the whole picture, I think that may be more helpful than thinking about managing difficult or even abusive relationships in a very black and white way. But, look, I'm open. I'd still like to hear your experiences. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So leave a comment. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, take good care.